Well, good Monday morning to you. Welcome to our Monday morning live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. I'm your host, Jim Tabor, along with Doctors Jim and Janine Fox of Doctor's Nutrition, located on Cowan-Lorraine Road in Gulfport, just south of Pash Road. We do this every Monday. If this is the first time you've tuned in, and it is a live call-in show. And our phone lines are 896-0713. You see on your screen right there, or 800-349-0713. And what we do is we talk about health issues. And people call in, ask questions, which you can, regarding your health. And, the thing is to help you live a healthier lifestyle. Well, as this is the first Monday of the month, we do what is called Open Line Monday, in which we take questions about anything regarding your health, even down to a stub toe, no.
Stub toe?
Stub toe, right.
Stub toe.
Don't stump it.
Yeah, turn on the light whenever you get up in the middle of the night. But I know it seems to be there's a sudden bump up again in COVID.
Yeah.
And someone had emailed me a message that said, because we had talked about this a lot in the past, should I still be taking something to protect me from COVID?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
sure.
definitely.
You know, the thing about it is COVID's not going to go away. I mean, it's not something that's just going to, magically disappear. It's here. It's sort of like the flu, and it's going to change. And, good Lord, we're on BA5 now, which is, one of the variants. So, I mean, we've gotten a long way down the road, but we're still going to see this thing, and it's going to be with us probably forever, just like the flu is.
Yeah, and it's not just about COVID. It's more about keeping your immune system up, because everything that's been said to take for COVID is really to help the immune system and keep you from getting sick. And it's not, it also helps, keep you from getting the flu and keep you from getting other viruses and bacteria. So increasing the immune system is always a good idea. And so, vitamin D, one of the big ones that everybody's been taking because of that is vitamin D. That makes a big difference in a lot of things. It makes a big difference in, yes, your immune system, but it keeps you from hurting all over. It protects you. It is cancer preventative to a point. There definitely have research on that. So it's just about overall health. And the zinc, that's something your body needs anyway. Now, you don't want to overdo zinc. I have seen some people overdo zinc since COVID. And I always tell people, long-term use, don't go over 50 milligrams a day. Because we have people now, if short-term, you can go up to 100, but that is short-term. That's like if you're sick. But you do not want to take huge amounts, and I do have some people we've seen do that, and we tell them not to. The quercetin that everybody's taking is actually to help get the zinc into the cells. So that's good. Vitamin C, that's good for everybody to take always. So those things I tell people, because we have that question a lot. I mean, we get asked day in, day out, oh, do I still need to be taking this stuff? Well, yeah. For one, still when we do lab work, the majority of the people we do lab work are deficient in vitamin D, still, even with everybody taking extra D. I mean, so that's...
So many of them have quit.
A lot of people have quit. We really have seen that. I'm like, aren't you taking D? And they're like, well, no, I was. It's kind of, we get that a lot. So it is definitely stay on what you're doing, keep the immune system strong. Always want to do prevention. Don't wait until you get sick and then run out and try to do something for it. That's what we, people calling, frantic, saying, oh, I need something because now I have COVID.
Need a magic pill.
Yeah, you definitely want to try to prevent.
And just because you've had it once and even had your shots doesn't mean
it doesn't mean you're not going to get it again.
I know people who've done that.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we almost daily we talk to people who've had it 2-3 times.
Yeah.
And had the shots, and so it doesn't matter. I mean, the vaccines protected you against the original one, maybe. Okay, I'll go with that far. I'm not sure about that even, but the new ones, I mean, take our beloved president, for instance. I mean, that man's probably had every shot in the world, okay? And he's taken some of the, stronger medications to try to help him get over it. He's been boom, 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 just over and over
3 times.
Yeah.
I'm talking about within a couple of weeks.
Right. But it's like, you can get it over and over, just like you can get the flu.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to a friend of mine over the weekend, and she had just gotten, she had it bad last week, and she had it a year ago.
Well, you see the same people getting it over and over because they have low immune systems. So if you think about that, you got to keep the immune system strong. That is number one. So yes, you definitely should still take the stuff you were taking before. And another thing that we recommend just all the time is something called SPM. We actually had a show.
Yeah, last week.
We had a show on
Was
it.
it last
Sure
week?
did, yeah.
Okay. yeah,
And
was.
it just keeps down the inflammatory processes, which is good for overall health. And at the same time, if you're taking it and you do get COVID, it's going to keep the inflammatory response down. Not that it can't stop it, but it's going to keep it down and maybe cause less problems.
Right.
And there is a lot of research that's come out with SPM and COVID because it does help protect the lungs and the scarring from COVID. So definitely, that's another thing that we put on your prevention list.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Bill called in, wanted to know, says, I have a hard time waking up in the morning. Is that my body lacking something? And is there something that I can take to give myself a little boost?
We get that one a lot. I mean, we really
do.
And I always tell people, and I know they probably think, well, you're just pushing the lab work. I am, because that's the only way you're going to know. It's like, if you've got a car that's not running correctly, what do? Take it to the dealership and they plug it into that little computer?
Yeah.
Same thing. And when you got that, I mean, he could be anemic.
You don't just keep changing parts until
Right.
it works right.
Let's hope, anyhow. Right.
That gets expensive.
Yeah,
That gets expensive,
exactly.
right. So hopefully, when you take somebody like that has a problem, you just want to look and see, okay, what is wrong? Is he anemic? Does he have, an adrenal issue? Maybe the cortisol is not doing what it's supposed to do. There's a lot of things to be. So
Yeah.
thyroid, who knows?
Like I said, thyroid, adrenals,
Yeah.
anemia,
Yeah.
low white blood cells make you
Right.
tired. I mean, there's so many, B12 deficiency, vitamin D deficiency. I mean, all those things can actually make you tired in the morning when you get up. So there could be a lot of different things.
All right, another question. My daughter-in-law's mother is around 70 years old. She has not been eating anything. She says everything tastes like rubber, and she has been sleeping a lot. They have brought her to the doctor and are currently waiting on lab work results. I was wondering if you have any suggestions on this issue in the meantime.
Well, it could be, COVID, long COVID for some of these people. They have, because it just, the one thing about it was the taste and smell.
Right.
So, I mean, that's pretty common. And so, the first thing I would say is, one, you want to see what this lab work says. If they've ordered lab work,
Definitely.
you want to see what it says. Before you can start doing anything, you don't go out and just start pouring oil in your car before checking it first, right? So they've done some lab work. All right, that's.
Yeah, and if you get the lab work, we'll be happy to look
Yeah.
at it for you too, because we do look at lab work if somebody's already had stuff done. We have a lot of people that bring it to us and
Oh,
say,
yeah.
what do you think? Just a different take. We look at it more nutritionally. And so we just look at it a little bit differently. So you might bring us and let's see if they checked everything we would check.
Right.
We mentioned zinc. A zinc deficiency can make taste problems also.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be COVID. It could be actually a zinc deficiency. But you can check that on lab work as well.
All right. 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. Our phone lines are open. It's Open Line Monday this morning on the Doctor's Nutrition Show. We'll be right back. And welcome back. It's our Monday morning live edition of the Doctor's Nutrition Show. I'm Jim Tabor, along with Doctors Jim and Janine Fox. Our phone lines are open at 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. You have a study that you wanted to share with us.
Well, we talk about eating real food a lot, meaning that hasn't been pulverized, okay, and or whatever they do to it. And there's a study that just came out of Duke University. We'll not talk about their baseball or anything like that, but Duke, okay, pretty good.
Blue Devils.
The Blue Devils, right? And they found that, and this is what was really interesting, because everybody's got. If you look at the various fibers, oh, this fiber's better than that fiber, blah blah blah. Everybody's got their way. What they found was, if you haven't been eating much fiber, it doesn't matter what you eat, it helps the gut.
Yeah.
I mean, any kind of fiber you eat. And, that was kind of the shock.
Or take. It was about,
take.
they looked at supplements actually,
Right.
and they looked at different types of fiber supplements, because there
Right.
are different kinds out there.
Tons of
There's, soluble and insoluble, and then there's a psyllium, powder, and then there's flax powder, and there's, inulin, and there's all kind of stuff. And what they found was just take any of them. Just take fiber is what it said. Eat fiber, take fiber. That if they added fiber to people, that it actually helped them in many ways. And it's
Yeah.
not just about going to the bathroom. It even
No.
said that on the study. It's not about just going regular. It's about your microbiome, which is your good bacteria,
Which is your immune system.
which is your immune system, being very happy if it gets more fiber, is kind of what it
What are
said.
some good fibrous foods?
Fibrous foods are your green leafy vegetables. It even mentioned in the study citrus, the pulp, like the pulp on it is actually really good fiber.
Yeah.
Even beans they mentioned was really good, and
One
they
of my favorite
actually
foods.
Yeah.
did find that people that already had a better diet had better microbiome to begin with. When they ate more fibrous foods, their microbiome was better to begin the study. And then they kind of took all that into account, and then they gave everybody supplements, and then everybody's got better. Even the ones that were already good from
Yeah.
eating fiber was even better taking more fiber. So their big thing, the takeaway of the study is get more fiber.
And what they found was, you don't have to do this for 6 months before you feel benefit from it. They found if you do it one day, it changed that microbiome. One day. So it's not like, okay, I'm gonna have to do this
Now,
for 6 months
you
before it
mentioned
works.
beans. What kind of beans? Green beans?
Well, green beans, black beans, pinto beans,
Yeah.
kidney
Like-
beans,
Yeah.
you know.
Lima beans. and
Well, yeah, there's probably
Garbanzo beans.
Garbanzo
Butter beans.
Butter beans.
So,
yeah.
you know, there's just a lot of this food, there's a lot of foods that actually have fiber.
Yeah.
And it's always going to be real food, though,
Yes.
a real food diet, and that's what you want.
Yeah.
And not packaged processed foods. And there was another one of the studies
Yeah.
that actually mentioned had done a long-term study, I think, in the UK. That
Yeah,
actually
right.
showed that they took thousands of people and followed them from 55 and older, and they would do questionnaires every so often about what they ate and their diet for the past week or whatever. And they looked at all those things. They found the people with the highest packaged processed foods increased dementia. And
Something like 25%.
yeah,
Wow.
So
it's pretty.
yes.
It was striking. As to
So
how much,
again,
yeah.
eat real food, fruits, vegetables, lean meat, nuts, seeds, things like that. And most of the people out there, the bread that you're eating is highly packaged and processed. It is not, but it's whole grain. Yeah, but it is very packaged and processed.
Take a few slices of that whole wheat bread that you have that you're so proud of, put it on a plate, put it in the shelf, in the pantry, high up where you can't get to it, and hopefully no mouse or anything can either. And go back in a week and look at it. Go back in 2 weeks and look at it.
Yeah,
Go back in 3 months and look at
it looks the same.
Looks
it.
the
It'll
same.
look the same.
Now, if you do, I mean, we don't do a lot of the grains, but if I do something, if we do splurge and we're going to get a little bread, I make not Ezekiel bread.
No.
I actually make einkorn bread. And einkorn is your original wheat that is actually low to no gluten. And when I make that, I'm not kidding, 3 days, if it's mold.
Yes.
I mean, it is nothing but mold if you don't eat it. And they even tell you, you got 3 days on this bread, that's it.
And the first time we did it, a long time ago, when first time she did it, she said, "We've got 3 days." I said, "Really?" I mean,
And we
well,
don't eat that
sure
much
enough.
of it, so if I make some, I freeze.
You made some sometime, and
Yeah.
I tried it over
Right.
at your house, and it was
It's-
really
it's
good.
really
It
good.
was very good.
But
But I promise you, 3 days, you better have it gone because you're gonna throw it away because it's got.
what I
green
do is I
stuff growing on it.
freeze 3/4 of it.
Yeah.
When I make it, I freeze it.
Yeah.
And that way it just take out a little bit at a time, and that way, and we don't want to eat too much of it anyway, because we do lower carbohydrate, and that is still carbohydrates, even though it is high fiber.
Real high in fiber.
Real high fiber and not packaged and processed at all. The place we get the einkorn from, they grind it the day they ship it to you. So it
Or
is-
we've even got the wheat berries.
we
can
even got the
grind
wheat
it-
berries
can
and we
your own.
grind ourselves. We,
Yeah.
we just got that in. We haven't done it
We
yet.
haven't-
We haven't done that yet. But so
That's
but
coming-
is-
coming
you
attraction.
want, if you're going to do it, you want real food.
Right.
Well, and then somebody just called and said, "Is there anything that I can cut out of my diet to help lower my cholesterol?"
Sugar.
Sugar.
Believe it or not.
And
I mean,
The biggest thing, sugar.
People think, people freak out because they think, well, it's got to be fat. Not necessarily. I mean, yeah, some of the saturated fats, if you're eating too much of things like your coconut oil, stuff like that.
coconut oil really does
really will.
increase it greatly, even though that's a beneficial food for the brain.
Mm-hmm.
We do see people, I'll see somebody's cholesterol go way up. That's just abnormal for them. And I'm like, okay, what are you doing different? And they're like, nothing. They always say nothing.
Always.
And many times I'll say, are you doing coconut oil? Oh, well, yeah, I added that. It's supposed to be good for you. Well, yeah, but it definitely increases that cholesterol.
Yeah.
Now, it increases the good too,
Yeah.
but it does increase it. So and it'll increase it 40, 50 points. I mean, it'll go up way up.
But you know, when you start looking at cholesterol, I mean, seriously, one of the biggies is lowering triglycerides, because
Yes.
it starts out with your VLDL. That's the very low density lipoprotein, and it's got your triglycerides, cholesterol, and some other fatty stuff that's needed for cells and so on. And if the more of the sugar stuff that you take in, you're going to make more triglycerides, and the more triglycerides you have, the more bad stuff you're going to have in your.
And
that's
actually,
the problem.
high triglycerides are your biggest risk
Your biggest
factor,
one, yeah.
in my opinion, also.
Well, not only your opinion.
It's,
I mean,
it's getting to be more and more research
Yeah.
showing it. We actually had a meeting with a doctor at Cleveland Heart Institute last week.
Yeah.
And we're talking about adding some really advanced cardiac tests, which they're not quite available yet, but we will talk about them
Soon.
when they are. But he was talking, I mean, we were all in agreement that the triglycerides are the problem.
Yeah.
And that he even says a lot of the good research is coming out that it ain't, you know, range goes up to 150. He says it never should be over 80. If
Yeah.
you're over 80, you got a problem.
Yeah.
And that's going to,
And he had charts.
and he had all
graphs
kind of
stuff.
charts. He has all kind of, I mean, man, they had some research and charts and graphs and all kind of stuff, and insulin resistance. That's what he was
We
talking
can
about.
validate everything that he's talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It really did.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yep.
All right, Jay from Gulfport, we're going to get to your question in just a moment, but we got to take another break, and we'll come back with your question and for this week's special. And welcome back. It's our final segment this morning. So if you have a question, you can call us at 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. Jay from Gulfport would like to know if Doctor's Nutrition sells suppository probiotics for ulcerative colitis.
No, we do not. I could look and see if we could get some, but we do not carry them currently. Now, for ulcerative colitis, just to let you know, there is something that we use that works really well, and that is something we have called GI Essentials. The GI Essentials, we have so many people with ulcerative colitis that actually says it makes a world of difference. What it does is it heals the lining of the stomach and intestines and helps heal it to where you don't have as many problems. And it even has the stuff like the zinc carnosine that is for ulcerations. And so it really does work well.
And we have the other
And
probiotics.
we have
of course,
yeah, exactly.
we have probiotics that'll go all the way up to one that and I really like it. I got a friend up in the Carolinas, and he, you know, every once in a while he'll call me and say, okay, I need to do this, because it's a 2-week intensive kind of thing, but he'll do it sometimes for 30 days or so. But it's 350 billion colony forming units per
Wow.
dose. Right. Okay. So it's,
And it's
you know,
like
Mine, the one I take is only 50 billion.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
well,
it's like
300.
and it's like 24 strands, so it's really one of
good.
those really good.
It's real good.
So we have all kind of different varieties of
Yeah.
probiotics.
Yeah.
But we do not carry the suppositories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, 896-0713 or 800-349-0713. Our phone lines are open to you. Let's go ahead and look at this week's special if we could.
Yeah, this is something that we thought, you know, I don't know that we've ever really talked about it very much. GHR stands for growth hormone release. And basically what it is, it's a group of amino acids that are designed to help the body produce its own growth hormone. And you take that stuff right at bedtime, go to sleep, and that's when your body does its repair work anyhow, is it's sleep time. And it's amazing. Got a lot of people that have started on it and actually use it for sleep.
Right. It does help sleep, but you know what does growth hormone help with? Well, it helps with repair. It actually helps with energy the next day. It helps you sleep better. It's anti-aging. I mean,
Right.
really, when you come down to it, you know, growth hormone is anti-aging. It does not have any of the downsides of injecting growth hormone,
Right.
though, because when you start injecting and falsely greatly elevating it, then you can start having things grow that should not grow. But on this one just makes your own body produce more. And so it works really well.
Yeah,
and we
it
just
really
never,
does.
it's a powder. And so you do have to mix it with something and just drink it right before you go to bed. And we just talked about it, and we've never talked about it on the show, because it's not really for any specific disease or any specific process. It's just something we've actually had for years.
I think you could put it, lump it in there. You mentioned the anti-aging part.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of fits there. You know, and it's a nice niche there for that anti-aging thing.
Yeah, we even had a
Thinking about that.
patient. Now this was kind of unusual, but he actually had been taking it for a year or two or longer, and he got 3rd-degree burns. He was actually pouring gas on a fire, which you should not do. And they of course airlifted him to Mobile, like, you know, everybody, all burn victims. his skin grew back so fast that the doctors were like, what are you doing? Because no one heals like this. And he was taking the growth hormone release.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was one thing that was interesting, because he said that my doctors wanted to know, what are you taking? We've never seen anybody's skin start coming back. And he didn't have to have as many of the skin grafts and everything that everybody else has to have.
And surprisingly,
And no scar-
The burn center hadn't started
and-
stocking up on
and
that.
no scarring.
the scarring, lack of scarring is the
Yeah, the lack of scarring
Wow.
was amazing.
That's
So
wild.
Yeah.
So it does help things like that. It's things like you don't think about. You don't know until something happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, 896-0713, 800-349-0713. Our phone lines are open. Sarah, question: I drink a lot of water every day. Is it possible to drink too much?
It's possible. You got to drink a lot now, but it is possible. Anything, the
Exactly.
poison is in the dosing, as they say. I think some bright guy a long time ago said that. But it is in the dosing, and yes, you can drink too much water. But the average person never gets close to it. I mean,
Most people. Now you
Most.
can, if you drink too much, you can wash out your electrolytes, your minerals, your sodium, things like that. So that's one of the things with drinking gallons. I mean, drinking what was usually recommended is not going to be too much. And most people don't get that much. We see by far way too many more people that don't drink enough water than drink too much.
Yeah, they're always showing signs of dehydration.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
All right, do you have any supplements or anything natural to help with diabetes or blood sugar levels?
Oh yeah. We have actually quite a few things. GSF, which stands for Glucose Support Formula. We have our Berberine Max, which is really good, and it's Berberine's been shown in double-blind studies to work as well as some of the medications. We also have a time-released alpha-lipoic acid that's by Zymogen that's really good. We have multiple things. Our GSF is your alpha-lipoic, cinnamon, Gymnema sylvestre, bitter melon, chromium, and we have all those separate. So we have everything in there separate, but then we have it all together in GSF. So we have lots of things for blood sugar control.
Yeah.
But the number one thing we have for blood sugar control, I would say number one, is we'll help you change your diet. And if you eat the wrong foods, you're not going to control your sugar no matter what you take or do, medication or natural.
Okay.
Yep.
Are there any foods that I can eat to help lower blood pressure?
Bugs Bunny would love this one. Okay, celery, but you're gonna have to eat a bunch. Okay, but it really does work. I mean, seriously, it's a great.
And
diet.
actually,
Red-
garlic too.
garlic's good.
Garlic's
too.
known
yeah,
as
well.
it too. Garlic
But
is
you
known
gotta
to lower blood pressure.
Again, take a pretty good hit. But
and then beets. There are, there's chemicals in beets, the arginine and things like that have been shown to lower blood pressure as well. So there's a few good things for blood pressure.
again, staying away from the packaged processed foods.
And sugar.
And sugar.
Yeah, sugar.
Actually, if you stay off of sugar, it definitely lowers blood pressure.
Sugar is the root of all evil, it seems like.
It is.
Unfortunately.
Let's see. I bruise easily. Is there anything that can help?
Vitamin C is always a
C is a
biggie.
good one.
There's other things that we have. One of which is the diosmin, which is
Right.
is good for the integrity of the veins. and arteries.
K2.
K2.
And if you're iron deficient, but do not take iron unless you are shown for sure to be iron deficient, that can help as well.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Do you have anything to help with slightly elevated cholesterol?
Yes.
A lot of things.
We have a lot of things for that. Actually, Coleast, and we can just lower the dose if it's just slightly elevated, or you can make diet changes. But we do have a product called Coleast that is specifically
Which
for
is what I
cholesterol.
take.
Yep,
I take
exactly.
Coleast. Yep, it has helped tremendously.
Yep.
So what are we talking about next week?
We're going to talk about back to school. We're actually a little late. We didn't realize that everybody was starting this week, so we're going to do it next week.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally forgot about that myself.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So thank you for joining us this morning. Again, you can email me any questions, jtabor@wlox.com, the initial J, tabor@wlox.com. You can also find all kinds of information on Doctor's Nutrition's Facebook page and also on their website, doctorsnutrition.com, and you can order stuff online as well. Anyway, hope you have yourself a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Monday morning here on WLOX CBS.
For more information on highlighting your business and services on Healthy Living South Mississippi, contact Jim Tabor at 896-1313.